Yo, what's up guys? We have the Tekken 8 collaboration noticed over here. So yep, very enthusiastic. 30th of July. It was interesting that they did actually mention it on the 31st of July on the CEST on the assets of SWC. So I'm not sure if it's going to be the 30th or 31st, but one of the two. I hope 30th would figure it out for me a little bit better. So we do have the characters of Nina, Paul, Jin, Hwoarang, and Heihachi. And we do see a little bit of their skills as well. So Bandai Namco, yes, blah, blah, blah. Yep. Nice. Okay, we have all of the names. Jin Kazama as main protagonist. Yep. They do also have, I think they have, like, I forgot his name, like Kazami or something, like this dude over here. Or Kazuya? Kazuya, I think it's Kazuya or something. That is like the main bad guy, let's call it that way. So let's look at the 4 stars and 5 stars. So we're gonna get 20 new units. How many 5 stars do we get in total? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. 13 new 5 stars. That's a fair bit. We have 2 dark 5 stars, probably 2 light 5 stars as well. Yep, exactly. Hwoarang light 5. Ooh, that's one that my eye is kind of on. Like, I would like to have a light Hwoarang. That's the main unit I will be aiming for. So if I pull a Jean B over here, I think I don't have to explain what pulling a Jean B on Collabs is. I will be getting the light Hwoarang. Just letting you guys know out there, if I pull a Jean B over here, which I haven't yet, and Jean B has done the last 3 times, I will be pulling a light Hwoarang. It's just for the looks of it. I'm not even sure if that unit is good. I didn't even look in that yet, but okay. So we do have a bunch of 4-star lights. Well, Paul's actually both 4-star on the light and the dark, which is kind of interesting. Nina is the only one that is the 5-star on the light and dark both. So that's interesting as well. But we do have a 4-star of all of them. No, actually, only Paul. Paul's technically the hardest to skill up because all of them normally have like at least one default 4-star. You can skill up the 5 stars with 4 stars. But if they're both light and dark, that will be like a full-on Devilmon required anyway. So that's the only thing that we can kind of take out this for the first time. So if there is something that you want to skill up any of the units, like an event, probably go for Paul because you cannot use like 4-star here, 4-star there, 4-star there. Because you actually have to have the 4 stars in these and these. So let's check out the skill. So Heihachi is the one that we get for free. It is a fire type. Demon Wings attacks the enemy proportion to your enemy's max HP. Okay. Block them for receiving beneficial effects for 2 turns. Wait, is that a 1 hit? That is a 30 chance. Is this finally going to be our SF unit? But it's a little bit low rate for like a 30. Like a 30 is gonna go up to what, like 50? That's definitely not enough. Attack all enemies 4 times deal addition proportion to their max HP. It's still an SF unit. And increase their defense for 2 turns. That sounds very strong for SF, to be honest. And SF, of course, being Steel Fortress. Grant Endure buff on yourself. Useless. Attacks the enemies to block the targets from receiving beneficial effects. Okay. The damage is increased by each harmful effect. Yo, he has Perfect AI. This last part makes it where there's like 3 or 4 buffs. He has Perfect AI. So Heihachi might be finally a key good unit for Steel Fortress. Because this hit is pretty good. But this hit is going to be Perfect AIing on the boss if there's already enough debuffs. Plus there is a block beneficial. There's still the 85% chance that you will miss it. The Endure is kind of useless itself as well, I would say. Like if this was an attack buff, it would be a lot better. I'm not really sure what Endure is the main take on that. But this might be a good free-to-play unit for Steel Fortress to make it a bit more safe. Issue is that the skill one is still 30%, right? Which is kind of like, yeah. But yeah, sure. I can see this working, especially if he has a fair bit of damage. Only thing that it does not state is that he's scaling off his own HP. That's the main issue. Like he's an HP type unit. He will have very low base attack. And it might be that he's scaling off the enemy's max HP. But enemy max HP, not stated in there. Could be a full attack scaling skill as well. None of them are actually stated where they're scaling off his HP. So enemy max HP has nothing to do with his HP. So that could be a little bit iffy and one of those typical counters. Like we're going to create a unit that is on paper pretty decent. But actually on the actual thing, if you look at it, it's really trash. So let's see how that works out. We have Jin Kazama. That is one that we have multiples. So all of the skill ones are kind of the same. Attacks the enemy 3 times to inflict continuous damage for 30%. That already shows that you have a solid skill 1. Because that's multi-hit. That's like a skill 1 of a Zeratul right there. That is already a very solid. Like, if you add a passive to that or anything like that, Jin Kazama in this case is the dark one. Mostly they showcase the ones over here that are not the most crazy. But let's see. Attacks the enemy 2 times, increase your attack bar for 20% whenever you land a critical hit. Okay. The damage is increased according to the enemy HP decreases. Nothing that crazy, but good for cycling, I guess. Third skill, grant soul protect on yourself for 1 turn and attack the enemy. If the enemy is defeated with it, this attack, skill cooldown will not be triggered. Sounds very much like Jack, like what's it called, Itadori Dark. And the damage excess will be applied in additional damage for the next use. Ooh, that's actually... That second part is kind of interesting-ish, but I'm not too sure about like that. I feel that this is one that's strong. Then again, we don't know speed leaders. We don't know awakening into speeds. We don't know any of that kind of like base speeds in the first place. We don't know any of that, but that sounds kind of interesting-ish, but is it really that great? Like, I think it needs a little bit too much setup. I could see this as a siege unit, though. Like, if it has, like, a guild leader skill on speed or guild leader skill on, like, attack or anything like that, that definitely could have some value in there. But that's the only 5-star of that family. So let's move on. Hwoarang, we have the backlash, attacks 3 times, absorb the enemy attack bar with... That's a strong skill 1. Ooh, damn. What? Okay, Hwoarang is gonna be OP. Hwoarang is absolutely gonna be OP. I just read attack all enemies 6 times. I don't even care what the rest of the skill does. That is 6 times additional damage AOE. What the hell? Which, I want a Hwoarang Light. Like, I don't know what the Hwoarang Light does, but I think that thing gonna be hella OP. Could still be, like, on paper good, and for the rest, kind of shit. But additional damage artifacts, yo man. So attacks the enemy 3 times to absorb the attack bar. Oh, we already had that. Attacks the enemy 4 times, deal damage to ignore the damage reductions. Okay, so that's just like shield, ignore, and invisibility and that kind of good stuff. Damage will be increased if the enemy is granted with beneficial effect. Okay, not that crazy. Attacks the enemy 6 times. This attack cannot be countered. And attack bar increasing effect of the enemy boss auxiliary are not activated. Okay. It's just a damage hit in that case. So that is fine. It's also an attacker type. So I think that's Hwoarang. Maybe not this one in particular. But I think the Hwoarang could be really strong. So the fire one is definitely going to be trash because of being a 4-star. But the water one, wind one, light one, and even dark one, I have pretty high hopes for the Hwoarangs to be good. Then we have Paul. Paul is one of those ignore defense kind of type of units that, in my opinion. So let's actually see if it also goes for that. Is a water type, is HP type as well, whereas the others were attack type so far. Nina is support, kind of makes sense. Moonfall, attack the enemy to provoke, okay. Once again, does not state of scaling of HP, so that might be the shit thing. They have been doing it once again with many units. The Slayers, like Carnal, Cigar, all of those, they had like attack type scaling on their skill 1. The moment they switched that to an HP type scaling, they became good. So for me, any unit that is released as an HP type, that is not full on HP type scaling, is immediately trash until next balance patch. So I expect the Pulse, if they're all like HP type, and they're not scaling on their skill 1, they're probably going to be kind of trash. So you don't need attack scaling skill 1s and that kind of stuff. Attacks the enemy 3 times, decrease their speed by 2 turns. Okay, recovery for 20. Okay, yep. Passive, strongest in the universe. Okay, glancing curse when chance you're attacking. Yep. When receiving a glancing hit, go in the threat state. Okay. Okay, I can kind of see it, but doesn't really seem that strong to me, especially because neither of the 2 skills are actually specifically mentioning that they're HP scaling. Because they don't mention it, it's most likely not, and therefore it's most likely kind of ass. So that's kind of there. Nina Williams, they actually did show the light. Does still have a dark version, which we don't see. Blonde Bomb attacks the enemy to chance for stun. Okay, probably goes up to like a 50%, which is definitely not bad for skill 1 on a support type of unit. Attacks the enemy 2 times. First hit grants silence. Second has attack power down. Okay, but double 60%. Probably goes up to like 80-ish%, but sure. Bullet Assassination. Attacks the enemy 4 times. All enemies. First hit is seal. Second hit is... the second and third hit is block them from harmful effect. Okay. And the final hit is damage towards a max HP grant on the harmful effect. Okay, it's pretty loaded for multi-hits, but as a support type that is just debuffing but not stripping anything, I'm not too sure if I'm really liking it that much. I kind of get the vibe of it, but it does not really strike me as like, yo, that sounds super insane, because first you need to AoE strip to actually debuff all of this kind of stuff. And in the end, AOE debuffers, even like a Neftis, is not really that kind of crazy, or a Maximilian is that kind of crazy at the moment. So yeah, and they land more insane debuffs than this. Can it kind of work in like a Layla Tomoe Hagen kind of comp? Yeah, I would say so. I would say so, especially with like the block harmful effect removal thingy. It's pretty decent and it's a bit of damage, but I think just landing more debuffs is most likely more interesting than just the seal on that. But seal for 1 turn, it's kind of okay. If it was seal for 2 turn, I would have been a little bit more happy about that. 10% of the max HP damage if the target is granted with harmful effect. Is that going to be each? So is it going to be like a 10% each hit? No, it's like the 4th hit. So you're just doing 10% at the end of the hit. Or is it going to be for every additional, or for every debuff you do 10%? And the last hit will deal 10% of the max HP if it's granted with a harmful effect. So no, I think it's just like 10%. Like if they had like 6 debuffs, would they drain like 60% HP? Then we're talking. But if it's just 10%, it's, I don't know. We spent a lot of time capturing the skill identity of that. Yeah, for example, the combat itself, Hwoarang originally focused on pressing with fast and precise kicks. We interpreted that as overwhelming for the number of hits given for some multi-hit skills. Yep, might be very strong. I think Hwoarang might be really freaking strong. This collab comes with voiceover for each character for activation. No one listens to that except during SWC, I guess. Tekken, okay, doesn't get that much dialogue. Sure, that makes sense. We also will have the Tekken arena kind of thing on the top right. Okay, that's cool. That's where we have like the few mini games that they showed a little bit of. Let's see if they show a little bit more of those mini games. Wait, I kind of like this. Like the looks of this is kind of cool though. So okay, participation, but I think I'll just go through those like when we actually can see them. 3 difficulties, 16 battles. Okay, so you probably need a lot of units for that. I'm actually not really properly reading through all of this and just kind of like scanning through. I think I'd rather just like see how it works and then just go through it rather than... They also have a video on how the collab is made. Video I'll link in the description down below. So just going over a bunch of the things that they have. Mainly I'm actually looking at this video for checking out, can I find any units of like more skill interaction, maybe multipliers, maybe anything like that, leader skills and those kind of things? That's the main thing that I'm going to be looking out for. So let's see if we can spot any of those.
이번에 총공의 삶에 등장하는 콜라보 캐릭터들은 총 5명입니다. 시리즈의 주인공 카자마진,
They look dope though.
사운드만
They look
들어도
good.
모두가 아는 폴 피닉스, 그리고 많이 익숙한 캐릭터죠.
Hwoarang, my boy.
태권도를 진의 라이벌 화랑, 암살자 리나 윌리엄스, 지옥에서 살아 돌아온 헤이아치까지. 시리즈의 팬은 물론 격투 게임에 익숙하지 않은 유저분들도 잘 알 법한 대표적인 캐릭터들이죠.
특징이나 매력이 굉장히 뚜렷한 캐릭터들이라서 서머너즈워의 분위기로 제작하기 위해 연구와 고민을 굉장히 많이 했는데요.
Let's speed
특히
it up a little
캐릭터들의
bit.
인상을 잡는 게 꽤 어려웠습니다. 시리즈별로 캐릭터들의 인상들이 조금씩 다르다 보니 수많은 시즌별 철권 캐릭터 자료를 띄워놓고 작업하면서 가장 대표적인 이미지를 찾아내려
This is like the
노력했는데요.
good old stance of like Jin. Always look
이
badass.
진의 이미지를 찾기 위해 표정이나 인상 수정에서 시행착오를 많이 겪기도 하고, 폴의 경우 서머너즈워에 가장 잘 어울리는 분위기를 찾기 위해 헤어스타일을 포함해 다양한 버전으로
Well, he has to have the
밀어붙였습니다.
iconic hairstyle of like the volcano look, right?
철권 8의 폴보다 좀 더 대중적으로 친숙한 도복 코스튬을
It
선정하게
looks pretty close to
되었습니다.
Street Fighter though. I
이번에
would say that.
개인적으로 재미있었던 부분도 많았어요. 저는 철권의 디자인이 이렇게 화려한 줄 몰랐거든요. 헤이아치의
Damn,
등기 패치
that looks
디자인이라던가 바지 무늬, 장신구 디테일이나
Not
진의
bad,
자켓
not bad.
디자인 등 캐릭터들마다 독특하고 개성 넘치는 디테일이 많았는데 이런 부분도 챙기려고 노력했으니 눈여겨봐주셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
원화팀에서 캐릭터 시안 작업을 해주시면 모델링팀에서는 캐릭터의 최종 구현을 하게 되는데요. 대전 격투 게임이기 때문에 포징에 대한 부분, 멋진 액션이 나올 수 있는 모델링을 제작하는 것에 초점을 맞췄습니다. 철권 8의 캐릭터들이 실사풍이다 보니 묘사와 디테일이 세밀한 편인데요. 서머너즈워 스타일로 만들면서 부각시킬 건 부각시키고 생략할 건 생략하는 식으로 작업이 이루어졌습니다. 비율도 조정하고 전체적인 디테일도 압축해서 표현되었는데요. 격투를 하는 캐릭터들이기 때문에 가장 중요한 것이 손, 발, 그리고 근육이라고 생각해서 근육, 손, 발가락에 폴리곤을 많이 써서 묘사력을 올려주고 수염, 주름 등의 묘사를 통해서 강인한 인상을 표현하려 했습니다.
Yeah, I would say they definitely do look very detailed. More detailed than some of the normal characters out there right now. Also more detailed than the previous collab units, I would say.
시원한 격투 모션을 위해서 손과 발의 크기도 조금 더 키웠어요. 개인적으로는 기존의 서머너즈워에서 해보지 않은 리얼한 인체를 만드는 부분들이 새롭고 재밌었습니다. 그뿐만 아니라 전투의 흔적을 표현하기 위해서 의상의 낡은 재질, 단단한 쇠 느낌들도 디테일하게 묘사하고자 했습니다. 여러 가지로 재밌는 표현들이 많으니 게임에서 확실히 느낄 수 있을 겁니다.
철권 A셋은 유명한 기술들이 딱 있거든요. 폴의 경우에는
Ooh, signature moves.
우와라는 기합 소리로
Yo. If we're talking signature moves, I want a 10-hit combo. I don't care who does it, but 10-hit combo is the most signature thing out there for me in Tekken.
유명한 기술이 있죠. 비교적 피하기는 쉽지만 맞으면 상당히 강력한 기술이었는데요. 이런 유명한 팬분들이 좀 반가워할 만한 기술들도 넣어보려고 했고요.
Wait, is that gonna be another Daphnis coin flip kind of unit?
기획하면서 좀 고민을 되게 많이 했던 부분들이 있었는데요. 철권 A에서는 좀 콤보 그리고 다다니트 뭐 이런 것들을 되게 많이 사용하게 되는데 서머너 조어에서는 밸런스적인 이유로 좀 4히트 이상은 넘어가는 경우가 많이 없었거든요. 이번에
Yep. For example, around 10 hits. Yes.
레이저츠 같은 경우에는 대략 한 10타 정도 이런 연타와 콤보 개념을 좀 우리 게임에 넣으면서 좀 밸런스적으로도 잘 맞게 뭐 어떻게 하면
That
잘
would be
만들 수 있을까
busted as hell.
고민들을 많이 하게 됐었어요. 그래서 다다니트에 좀 특화된 캐릭터로 좀 방향성을 잡고 화랑 같은
Okay. Let's slow this down a bit.
경우에는 좀 뭐 스킬이 자동으로
Okay, that's the
연계된다.
fire one. I think fire. Wait, I would have to double check which one was fire and how many. So the fire one they're showing right now is a 4-star. So this one is less interesting.
여태까지는 잘 볼 수 없었던
Okay,
많은
this is the wind one
타격들을
with
좀 하는
shit ton of
그런
hits.
다다니트 스킬들을 좀 볼 수 있게끔 좀 기획해봤습니다.
그리고 진의 스킬도 좀 소개드리고 싶은데요. 개인적으로는 진의 액션들이 서머너 조어 스킬과
Yeah, Jin makes a lot of
가장 잘
sense for
어울린다고
Summoner's War.
느꼈는데
Definitely true.
동작들이 호쾌하기도 하고 화려한
Dark Jin by
이펙트들도
how it
있어서
reads
저희
did not
게임과
feel
딱
super
맞았다고
strong though.
느꼈습니다. 진의 스킬 구성은 공격적인 압박 능력이 뛰어나면서도 공수 밸런스가 굉장히 좋은 캐릭터라고 느꼈는데 이 부분을 구현하기 위해서 고민을 했습니다.
물론 시각적인 요소도 중요하지만 사운드가 잘 어우러져야
Sound.
게임의
To be
재미가
honest,
돋대야
I don't
된다고
want to discredit your
생각하는데요.
work,
이번
but no one's playing this game
콜라보에서는
with sound.
철권 8 원작의 보이스, 기합 소리도 함께 추가되어 좀 더 재밌는 경험을 들을 수 있게 되었습니다. 저희 사운드 팀에서는 서머너 조어에 들어가는 모든 사운드에 대한 작업을 하고 있는
Like to be honest, I don't really want to be rude, but this is kind of on the level as having like traffic lights in GTA, right?
데요. 철권 8은 타격감이 굉장히 중요한 게임이다 보니 원작의
Like, don't get me wrong, I think it's really cool it's there, but no one actually listens to it. Only for SWC is where you hear the sounds. That's why we figured out that Miles on the server skin actually makes a dolphin sound. Probably you didn't even know.
오리지널리티를 살리는 것을 핵심으로 삼고 찰지고 이렇게 묵직한 타격감을 구현하는 데 중점을 두었습니다. 스킬 하나에도 다양한 효과음을 레이어드해서 작업하는데요. 각 캐릭터별 특징을 반영하여 각기 다른 텍스처와 에너지감이 잘 드러날 수 있도록 작업을 합니다. 이때 애니메이션과 이펙트, 모션과 같은 비주얼적인 요소와 사운드가 정확히 타이밍이 맞물려야 하는데요. 사운드가 동작보다 0.1초만 먼저 나와도 되게 어색하게 느껴지기 때문에 사운드 이펙트가 시각적 연출과 잘 동기화 되도록 미세하게 조정하는 작업도 필요합니다. 저희 게임의 기존 사운드의 통일감을 유지하면서 철권의 연속 타격을 잘 표현하기 위해 타격마다 텍스처를 미세하게 달리해서 리듬감을 잘 살려 기존 사운드들과도 잘 조화가 되도록 작업했습니다.
워낙 모델링 파트에서 멋지게 캐릭터 디자인을 뽑아주시면 저희가 그 캐릭터에 모션을 주고 이펙트를 입히고 있습니다. 철권 8의 장르가 대전 격투 게임이다 보니 액션이 강조된 호쾌하고 멋있는 동작들이 많아요. 이런 큼직한 동작들이 저희 게임에 가져왔을 때 굉장히 잘 어울리거든요. 거기에 저희 게임 스타일로 이펙트를 좀 더 입혀서 좀 더 풍성하고
Ayachi
화려하게
seems pretty
만들어줍니다.
strong. Animations are a little bit long for Steel
이런
Fortress
멋있는
though.
연출을 보여드리기 위해서 레퍼런스를 굉장히 많이 찾아봤는데요. 프레임 단위로 끊어서 계속 연구하는데 예를 들어서 어떤 공격 모션을 취했을 때 그 반대쪽 팔의 동작이 편 건지 주먹을 쥔 건지 아니면은 돌린 건지 이런 것도 보다 보면 계속 달라지거든요. 이런 연구 과정을 거쳐서 최적의 동작을 만들어내고 있습니다. 그리고 한 가지 더 봐주셨으면 하는 건 비전투 시에 볼 수 있는 캐릭터들의 기본 포즈인데요. 전투 자세를 그대로 사용하기보다는 캐릭터의 성격을 드러나게 할 수 있는 시그니처 포즈들이 준비되어 있어서 이 부분도 팬분들이 재밌게 보실 수 있을 것 같습니다.
천공의 섬에 나타난 파이트 라운지로 입장하면 콜라보 컨텐츠 메뉴를 확인하실 수 있습니다.
Yeah, it's just the typical menu that we've seen with a bunch of collabs thus far.
철권 8의 BGM을 함께 즐길 수 있으니 들으면서 플레이어 하시면 콜라보의 분위기를
No one plays with sound on.
최대한 즐기실 수 있을 거예요. 서머너즈 1은 기본적으로 오케스트라 구성에 분위기를 순화하기 위해 가벼운 악기들로 캐주얼한 BGM을 제작하는데요. 이번 콜라보에서는 원작 BGM이 들어감으로써 콜라보 스토리의 컨텐츠의 그 긴박한 전투를 느끼실 수 있을 것 같습니다.
이번 콜라보 컨텐츠에서는 철권 8의 대전 격투 게임 형식을 차용한 새로운 방식의 이벤트 던전, 아케이드 배틀이 도입됩니다. 이벤트 던전이 구성도 많이 바뀌고 비주얼과 플레이 방식도 달라져서 컨텐츠적인 면에서 재밌을 거라고 기대합니다. 특히 전투 준비하면서부터 철권 8의 대전 격투 게임 느낌을 그대로 재현했습니다. 플레이어가 준비 화면에 진입하면 좌측에 있는 자신의 팀,
This
우측에는
looks
적팀을
kinda dope,
보시고
though.
대전 게임에서 흔히 볼 수 있는 형식의 인터페이스를 보실 수 있습니다. 플레이어가 첫 번째 캐릭터를 선택하면 화면 중앙의 몬스터 리스트에서 커서가 이렇게 움직이면서 적 몬스터가 자동으로 선택되는 방식으로 대전 게임의 캐릭터 선택 화면이 연상되실 거예요. 전투는 철권 A처럼 라운드 형식으로 진행되며 각 라운드마다 새로운 적과 대전하는 방식으로 구성되어 있습니다. 이어서 전투 종료 후 보상에 대해서 설명드리자면 기존의 전리품 획득과 다른 방식으로 진행됩니다. 스탯 업그레이드와 특수 업그레이드 두 가지 방식이 존재하는데요. 스탯 업그레이드에서는 여러 키워드 게임에서 많이 보셨을 거예요. 원하는 스탯을 찍어서 능력치를 이제 향상시키는 방식이고요. 스페셜 업그레이드는 선택한 몬스터에게 적용 가능한 특수 효과고요. 여러 가지 효과를 중첩시킬 수도 있어서 본인만의 특별한 조합을 시도해 볼 수 있을 것 같습니다. 그리고 특정 몬스터를 아예 강화를 해서 높은 데미지를 기록해 한 방에 손맛을 즐겨보셔도 좋을 것 같습니다.
이번 전투에는 중간 웨이브가 따로 없고 바로 5대5
What would be cool is like you have the Tekken tag team fight kind of thing, right? Would be cool if you add in like new units during your fight and like take them out and that kind of stuff. Would actually be kind of badass if they added that in, but I guess Tekken 8 doesn't have that. It's like Tekken Tag Team Battle or something that has that specific or like different games. But if we're talking fighting games, that's actually kind of cool, right?
전투로 들어가게 됩니다. 이번에 조금 색다른 점이라면 이번 던전에서는 카메라 시점의 변화를 적용했습니다. 저희가 기존에는 1인칭 시점에서 보는 듯한 뷰를 많이 구현했는데요. 이번에는 좀 더 대전 게임의 느낌을 살리고자 각도를 바꿔봤어요. 철권 8을 플레이할 때 좌우로 진행되는데 착안해서 이번 던전에서는 약간의 각도를 적용하여 대각선으로 캐릭터들이 마주보고 전투하는 형태로 구현되었습니다.
이번 이벤트 던전의 배경은 철권 8의 세 가지 주요 스테이지를 기반으로 제작되었습니다. 원작의 설정에 착안하여 제작된 배경들로 서머너조에 맞게 디자인했는데요. 넓은 스테이지의 비율을 어떻게
Looks kinda
표현할지
badass.
고민하면서 투시 왜곡을 더하고 빼면서 깊이감도 표현해보고 철권 8 특유의 꽉 찬 디자인 요소를 최대한 살리고자 했습니다. 아레나 스테이지의 번쩍이는 내용과 넓은 스테이지, 꽉 찬 관객석 등을 보면서 링 위에 올라와 있는 듯한 긴박감과 아드레날린이 잘 느껴지시면 좋겠습니다. 그리고 관객석이 꽉 차 있다고 말씀드렸는데 잘 살펴보시면 익숙한 얼굴들이 숨어 있을 거예요. 누가 있나 한번 찾아보시는 것도 재밌는 포인트가 될 것 같습니다. 마지막으로 링을 벗어나 우주에 파괴된 행성을
Wait, what do we see in Easter eggs over there? Are these, I think, yeah, those are just like Summoners War characters. Yeah, that's like a cast, that's like a Gildong, that's like, I think they just put like repeats of like all kinds of like Summoners War monsters sitting in there somewhere.
누가 있나 한번 찾아보시는 것도 재밌는 포인트가 될 것 같습니다. 마지막으로 링을 벗어나 우주에 파괴된 행성을 배경으로 한 전투도 마련되어 있는데요. 이 맵은 최종 난이도 보스전에서 만나볼 수 있으니까 많은 기대 부탁드리겠습니다.
이번에 등장하는 보스 캐릭터들도 궁금하실 텐데요. 철권 8의 스토리라인에서 등장하는 메인 보스들이 순서대로 등장하게 됩니다.
Okay.
진과 대적하는 진의 아버지 미시마 카즈야가 첫 번째 보스로 등장하게 되고요. 데빌의 힘의 원천인 아자젤이 하드 난이도 보스로 등장하게 됩니다. 그리고 마지막으로는 박사관 토르데빌 카즈야가 헬 난이도 보스로 등장하게 됩니다. 비주얼적으로도 기믹적으로도 강렬하고 특색이 있는 보스들이니 많이 기대해주세요.
To be honest, I expect all of those bosses to be like 2-hit. Like, to be honest, we have seen that with most collabs, right? All of these bosses just get like 2-hit.
콜라보 던전마다 다양한 연출을 보여드리려고 하는데요. 이번에도 보스들이 등장할 때 임팩트 있는 연출을 보실 수 있게끔 제작했습니다. 철권 8을 해본 적 없는 유저분들도 이 보스가 어떤 성격을 가지고 있는지, 어떤 컨셉인지 한 번에 느낄 수 있도록 원작을 세세히 반영하고 제작했습니다. 보스전의 오프닝 연출이나 스킬 모션도 재밌게 즐기시길 바라겠습니다.
새롭게 추가되는 컨텐츠 소식인데요. 컴투스의 슈퍼액션 히어로라는 게임을 좀 기억하시는 분들이 계시다면 반가워하실 소식일 것 같습니다. 대전 형태의 캐주얼한 미니게임을 서머너즈어에서 좀 만나보실 수 있을 것 같고요. 서머너즈어 몬스터들과 철권 8 콜라보 캐릭터들의 가면을 선택해서 플레이하실 수 있는데요. 그때 그 시절의 손맛을 다시 느껴보실 수 있었으면 좋겠습니다.
이외에도 철권 8 콜라보를 즐기실 수 있는 요소들이 많은데요. 미시마류의 도장을 모티브로 한 모아두기 건물, 콜라보 기념 철권 8 로고 석상, 전투 배경을 활용한 로비 배경, 철권 8 미시마 가문 문장이 새겨진 소환서와 소환 연출, 그리고 이후에 공개될 특별 형상 변환까지 많은 것들이
Special transmog. They actually did do that last time where they had the Inosuke also without like the pig face kind of thing. So I think they're gonna do something like that halfway through the collab then.
있으니 많은 기대 부탁드리겠습니다.
그럼 소환사 여러분, 이번 콜라보도 재밌게 즐겨주세요. Get ready for the next battle.
Okay, so in the end, I would say we didn't really see too many new units in there at all, or at least something about the units or leader skills or anything like that. They actually kept that hidden. I would say for the minigames and stuff, I would first have to play them to actually see if I would like them or not. But to be honest, a little bit of new fun stuff, definitely not bad. Let's hope that the units are not all trash, because in the end, it's more about the units than all of the like the side things like the sound and the backgrounds and that kind of stuff. Because in the end, if the units are just straight up bad, it's just like, yeah, what do we all do that for? But let's see how they are. In the end, it does say about like the minigames and all of that kind of stuff, but I'll just try out the minigames when they're actually live, to be honest. Like, I don't really care too much about them until I actually see them. And most of the time, like, you can really read into them, but they're like easy as hell anyways. So main for me is like the new units. I have high hope for the Hwoarangs to be insanely good. Like the moment that they give my boy Hwoarang anything less than like 104 base speed, I'm calling bullshit. That is the main thing I'm saying, man. This guy is like crazy freaking fast with like his precision kicks and that kind of stuff. Also, my favorite character that I've always been playing, like pretty much was the main button mashing, like spinning kick kind of guy that I was liking to play. So Hwoarang was my number 1. Yoshimitsu was my number 2. Jinkasama was actually my number 3. Too bad Joshimitsu, Jesus, can't even speak, is not in the game, but I do have high hopes for the Hwoarang being good. And like I mentioned, if I'm pulling a Shambi over here, I'm pulling this light dude over here. Whether it's good or not, I don't even care. But I think he has good potential to be good. Like, I'm not too big a fan of this final skill, but there's just so much add damage potential with all of those 3 skills already that even if the skills don't do anything else that much outside of it, they're still potentially really good. So let's see what they have, guys. Let me know in the comments what you think about this collab. And see you as always in the next one. Thanks for watching. If you would like to see more guides, join the Discord and check out the content tab for the guide video archive, which contains all of the guides that you might need. Hope to see you there.